All right, team. Hey, check it out. We're going to go ahead and go live now, and we're going to crack this out, guys. So, looking over here at the market, check it out. Dow, S&P, Nasdaq. These are the main ones that we're watching, anyways, on the daily for the most part. This is where we're really going at a lot of the times. So, we're going to go ahead and look at what happened. We kind of came off going for a nice little push. But then what ended up happening is we caught some, some basic sentiment news. Okay. So we got some job data stuff coming in. All right. Came off a little bit, started pushing a little bit towards the midday, and then we kind of cooled off. Again, we tried to come back up and recover, and we kind of cooled off again. But I want you guys to notice, man, we're kind of just trading in this range here. And, the issue with trading in ranges is that they happen and the issue with it is you never know what the range is going to do and stuff like that. So, that's kind of where we're at right now and looking at these things. So we're going to end up looking at the market. Hopefully next week we get a gap up, and that's kind of where we're going to look at for the market. Looking for, we kind of had like what this entire week was pretty much red. We barely finished in the green on the S&P and the Dow. I mean, you can see barely, and so we're looking at some potential nice little pushes going into next week, and so that's something that we'll be definitely paying attention to as we move forward. So that'll be something good to look forward to. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to. All right, now I like to talk about the forex market. Okay, Forex market has been popping, guys. If you don't trade the Forex market, I think you're missing out because the Forex market really is something that is special. And there's a lot of good opportunities in the Forex market that people just aren't taking advantage of, to be honest with you. In my opinion, I think people could definitely take advantage of it more if they paid attention to it. And I would like for them to pay attention to it because the Forex market has been making me lots of money. And I think mainly the reason why people don't like the Forex market is because it's unusual to them, right? They're unsure of what's going on with the Forex market, which is okay. When you're used to something, you kind of, think about, well, I don't really know if I want to do it or not. And whether I'm going to be good at it, but it trades just like the regular equity market. And the Forex market is way bigger than the equity and derivative market, guys. I mean, it covers currencies all over. The only hard part of learning how to trade Forex is that you got to deal with currency pairs and currency pairs. So you can see this kind of the US dollar and the Canadian dollar, right? The British pound and the US dollar, so on and so forth. These are stuff that if you're interested in Forex trading, TWR can help you out because I trade this market all the time. We also have signals and alerts inside of our server that go over this stuff all the time. So if you're interested in that, definitely hit me up, let me know, and we'll go ahead and get you spun up on that stuff. Here's your indexes overall. You can see indexes. This didn't calculate in the what kind of happened. Well, I guess we're up a little bit right now currently on the indexes from the bullish push in the end. Shanghai over there in Asia definitely coming down. Let's look at the heat maps. So when we're looking at the heat maps, definitely, we had some nice green in some of the areas that push. And what's surprising is for having as much green as we ended up having, we didn't it didn't feel like a blockbuster type of day. I mean, I didn't really feel the blockbuster type of day. I know a lot of people were getting frustrated with kind of the chop that was going on. So it was definitely one of those kind of interesting things where, it wasn't it wasn't a bad market, but it wasn't a good market either. Okay. And so it's one of those things we're looking forward to next week. A lot of analysts have the idea that we're going to push to all-time highs next week, and then we're going to take a little bit of a breather going into mid-January and the beginning of February as we come into earnings season, and then we'll start to rush in because it's all going to be about earnings and performance on earnings. Okay, not speculation, but performance on earnings. That's the big thing going into 2024. All right, so let's talk about some of this stuff. Tops. Here's some of your top gainers. Now, what I like to do with these everything here, if it's under 20 bucks, all this here, this is all good for, putting on watch lists and watching this stuff in the penny stock market. We just started up the TWR penny portfolio. We made two trades today. I think we trade there and we traded CAX something. I have it in the portfolio, but we traded those. So those were our first trades of the year. But we are definitely paying attention to the penny stock market because here's the issue. A lot of people have rode up the Magnificent Seven or the Elite Eight or whatever you want to call it, right? Though the stocks I'm talking about, the big ones, the juicy ones. They've rode them up. So a lot of people are going to look to take some profits out of these because they've gone 50% to 100% in 2023. So a lot of people are going to probably start taking profits. We're going to probably range down a little bit before we start breaking out towards mid-year and towards the end of the year, look for new highs and stuff like that. But the small and mid sector, the growth sector, this is going to probably start taking off because people are going to look, especially if the economy is looking good, people are going to start looking for cheapies, okay, that have good fundamentals, got a pipeline with some sort of innovative idea that makes sense with, forward progress, and they're going to look to hop into some of these trades. So definitely we're going to catch some momentum on some of these, and we'll ride some of these in our portfolio. You can see the ones right here. These are top gainers. Same thing on the top losers. What I like to do with the top losers is I like to go ahead and aggregate this, make sure I got my highest percent, and I want to know anything that has tanked above 15%. So all this here, I want to know why it tanked. Okay, so I'm going to dig into this weekend and I'm going to look, was it a fundamental reason why it tanked? Was it a catalyst event, something gone wrong? The fundamentals still are sound, just a knee-jerk reaction from an event. Who knows? But I'm going to find out what happened to it and we're going to pay attention. If we see that it's maybe not a fundamental reason, but more of a knee-jerk reason, then we get an awesome opportunity for coming into something fairly low. And so that's what we're going to look. Oh, and this was pre-market. Look at me being dumb after hours. Sorry about that. You guys got the gist of it, the whole idea of what I was talking about. I forgot to change it from pre-market to after hours. This is after hours right here. So this is what we're talking about. And the same logic applies to what I just said. These are the ones that we're going to pay attention to, and we like the percentages. And when I'm looking for these, anything above 15%, I'm paying attention to. Anything below 15% on the losers, I'm paying attention to. All right. Go ahead and go into uh midday. Actually, we can get the active ones from the active. Most active. Now, when we're talking about most active, we want to go ahead and look at volume, okay? Volume is really what we want to. Now, we can go off of volume on a day or we can go off of rolling volume with a 10-day average, right? So you can kind of look at this rolling volume, see what's going on, and you can kind of see stuff where the volume has been at, and then you can go back and check the TA and the DD on the price and see if the trend still is present and whether it looks good for continuation for either pop up or maybe bearish continuation to the downside. But these are the ones I'm really paying attention to is the volume on the day. I'm looking for bullish continuation most of the time in the penny stocks. And I'm looking for bearish continuation if it's a blue chip or higher stock, kind of like Tesla. I'm looking for, whether we're going to look for a bearish continuation or a bullish push. Nikola, it's already as low as I think it's probably going to be, here. New CEO and stuff like this. This is one of those stocks where you want to probably buy into a position. Now, could it go to zero? Yeah. But the probability of this at least making a push towards $1 and higher because of the new structure and new foundation it's trying to undergo is high probability. GOEV or GOV, the canoe, right? This one's a great opportunity, 26 cents right here per share. This is something you just drop in, you buy yourself 1,000 shares of it. You say, you know what? Hey, let's see what happens. Maybe push this to 50, you double up your money and you're good to go on that one. Who knows? Maybe it even pushes even further than that and they get some sort of deal, some sort of a federal deal or something like that. You never know. Apple, we're looking, of course, for support down here from this knee-jerk reaction to the downside. Peloton, we definitely got into this one. The the other day. This was a good news with the TikTok thing. So we're paying attention to that. AMD's kind of been rangy a little bit. So a lot of this stuff we're paying attention to just on the regular. QS, we got a debit spread on this one. We got a vertical call on this one, and we pushed out to the 19th. We're hoping that we get a nice little push going into a bullish week, next week and seeing what happens with that one. Going into the ETFs. ETFs market, right? So the Dow Jones ETFs. Now, what I want you to pay attention to is go into these ETFs this weekend, next week, and whatever, and find out what stocks share commonly in each of these particular ETFs, right? These NASDAQ ones, right? This VIX ones, okay? And what you want to do is you want to look at those because you can start using them as trends, okay? The Russell 2000 might be a little bit different because it has a lot of the smaller cap and stuff, but look to see what stocks are in the ETFs that are in both the Dow, the NASDAQ, and the S&P, and even the VIX and stuff, and look for correlations between them, okay? Because those are the stocks that you really want to focus on. The ones that are specifically inside of all of the ETFs, those are the ones that you really want to focus on. Top options, SPY, of course. SPX was a big one as well. The Q, Tesla, no surprise here, which were a top. This one was interesting though, Tilt, okay? You saw a lot of bond uh, options being pushed with the iShares 20-year on the tilt. And so that one's interesting to watch because, no one was talking about bond yields or anything like that until it started yesterday. Until yesterday, it started talking about it. So we're going to start, you got to be able to look at it. I showed people today in my server a an algo that I created that gets the bond yields and bond ETFs, and it pushes out the signals. And so basically the correlation is if if you get a bullish signal from a bond yield or a bond signal, then typically what you're going to see is you're going to see a negative reaction to the market overall. And the difference and the correlation to that as well is if you get a bear signal on the bonds and yields, you're going to see a market push. Now, every now and then you'll get some similar comparable divergence where you'll end up having like a bullish signal on the bonds and a bullish market or a bearish and bearish market. But typically what you're going to see is one is going to rise and the other one's going to fall, and they're going to be the inverse of each other. So that's something you can pay attention to for a correlation when you're looking at some strategy going into the market. Popular stocks. Got some popular stocks here. A lot of these are going to be your penny stocks. When you're talking about popular stocks, we're not really paying attention to, a lot of these so much. These are high dividend stocks, earnings beyond expectations, right? This is an important category to pay attention to because we like bullish earnings, all right? Bullish earnings give us, and especially if we take a dump off of beating expectations on earnings, that's usually derived from like some sort of sell-off or buyer's exhaustion, something. We want to pay attention to a support zone on that one because if the fundamentals are good and the earnings are good, then we should be able to capture some momentum from the bottom and ride that up, and vice versa on the other side as well. But earnings below expectations, sometimes you get a little bit of knee-jerk reaction. Goldman Sachs below, but it didn't really seem to phase it too much right there. You see that it's looking like it wants to break out. Goldman might be something guys may want to start paying attention to Goldman Sachs. I'm glad we looked at this. 400 could definitely be in the neighborhood on Goldman Sachs. GS likes to move, and we're looking pretty, hang on. And we're looking pretty good over here. Pretty good. This is a nice little pattern we're starting to see over here. I'd like to see a breakout above, but yeah, definitely 400 could be in the cards. This could be something we look into next week, for sure. Absolutely. Micron, we like MU. MU looking pretty good. Got an inside bar on the daily on MU, or that what is this? This is monthly actually. Inside bar on the monthly, and we're looking like we may want to start pushing for that 90 on MU. So could pay attention to this one. Now sometimes though, when you get these patterns, you get these pushes up like this. Sometimes you hit that buyer's exhaustion point and you start to hit a leg down. But on these particular ones, specifically since they just absolutely crushed earnings the other day or a couple weeks ago, this would be probably a good opportunity to maybe capture a breakout moment for a decent push. 83 to 90 is definitely in the cards for this one, for sure. All right. 52 weeks, new high. We like these. I like to aggregate from the price change. Not really seeing anything I like too much. See near high. And all I'm doing is just looking for some things that I pay attention to. New low. No, nothing really near low. Yeah, nothing. Not really. Okay. Moving on. Got okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get into the market now. Now that we kind of looked at that. All right. Talk about some of these things that we did yesterday. We had our lotto list, right? Let's review some of our trades that we had. Abbott Labs. Let's look at it. We're gonna pull it up on a 5 minute. Okay. Abbott Labs. You saw a nice kind of a push out of the gate. And then you started hitting that kind of that trade-off like you'll see everything else kind of did. Note this time over here about this sell-off period, right? This 12:20 to about 13:20. So you had about an hour selling and then a sharp V-shaped recovery where we actually made a new high. I wish I would have been paying attention to Abbott. During this time frame. That would have been a decent trade right there, but Abbott wasn't on my list that I was really paying attention to very much. So, you know, Nokia. Now you're going to see a lot of barcoding with Nokia. Nokia is just one that you own. All right. You don't really want to trade Nokia. You just want to own it for the long haul. You wait for the annual spikes. You usually get two spikes per year on Nokia, where it usually will catch some volume and it'll push up to $5 or $6. And then you go ahead and take your profits, come back down, re-enter into the threes. Art Capital. This one might look good for a potential play going into next week. Looking like we gapped down here, held the levels and kind of gapped up in after hours pricing over here. So we'll have to pay attention to this one going into next week. TCOM. Hey, we talked about TCOM yesterday. Look at this. All right. We talked about it. It ended up selling down like everything else, and then it took off and it went above our line, our battle zone line, right? Towards, and then you can see it went towards our bullish line here that we were talking about, and then we rejected it because we couldn't close above it. Remember, anytime we go get those sentiments right, we're looking for that push towards the upper lines. But in order to swing continuation, we have to close above it, right? Fully above it. 5 minute okay, 15 minute good, a best, right? We couldn't get that. And so we failed, consolidated, leg down, consolidated, leg down, and then try to recover a little bit. Hood sold off like we thought it was going to. We called this one. Called this one yesterday. Said Hood back in the 11s and pre-market hit it. I think we probably got a similar thing. We hit here, we pushed up, couldn't hold the levels, couldn't make a new high, rejected, came back down. So I think now it's time we fail this and we go ahead and push to the downside. CCJ. CCJ, bearish on CCJ. I think we have a case to probably see CCJ push towards if we got to go further out on this one. Yeah, we got a case with CCJ for the push down to where are we at now? After hours 42, something like that. What, 42.25? I think we got to push. We got the case to push here. This is where it's previously supported over here. So we blow through this consolidation zone here on some downtrending pressure. and then we push down to the next level here. Yeah, 40. I think we got a case for 40 on this one. I'd be going short on CCJ unless we get some sort of catalyst type of news that supports a bullish push up. I think we're failing. We're starting to downtrend in the wrong direction, losing our moving averages. It's short time on a CCJ. Coin. Man, coin disappointed today. I thought coin was going to be an okay lotto trade today, and it definitely disappointed. Um, There was some news that came out after hours on Bitcoin regarding the ETF. I believe it was some bullish news with the high probability of this ETF thing going through. So we should see Coinbase probably take a run again into next week, probably looking to reattack those 160s and seeing if we can start elevating over that as we move into that decision for the ETF. Then we'll probably get a sell the news type of thing. TGX losing some steam on TGX. I'm bearish on TGX down to 90. So TGX for me, bearish push down to 90. We're losing these. We got an inverse cup. We're about to get the leg to the downside. So for me, it's a bearish push down to 90. I think it might be a slow drip, but I do think that we're gonna lose this momentum that we have and we break to the downside. Ericsson is a good one. Start buying shares on Ericsson. $6. You can't go wrong with this one. I like it. PLTR, $15 is about that area where we like to flag out, like you can see here, and we push to the upside. So I'm bullish on PLTR. I think if you can go leaps, go ahead and push this out. Get a $20 leap, $25 leap, push out into 2026, and I'm pretty sure you'll make handsomely your money back and then some. 10 cent music, $8 buy shares. That one's that one's one of those Chinese stocks. You want to go ahead and buy shares of this, hold this, wait for the double up. This is a $20 stock that has been beat up here recently. Go ahead and get yourself some shares of this and work your way up to 1,000 shares if you can, and wait for the double up on this one. $20 is the target. Roblox being angled as one of the best buys going into 2024. This is one of those that you probably want to own shares and is a good one to trade as well. You get the momentum push off of Roblox. This thing can go about 1.5, yet either way, 1.5 points. So this is a good trade one. Right now we're looking a little bearish. We're starting to lose some moving averages. We got some volume profile that supports a little move to the downside, but we got more probability of a push to the upside if we got a bullish market. So I'd be more bullish than bearish. Just be prepared for the reversal. All right. DAL. Hey, what did we talk about? Hey, listen, man. When you got to pat yourself on the back, you got to pat yourself on the back. We talked about airlines yesterday, right? We said airlines would make good lotto trades. Look at these. These absolutely did exactly what we thought. 39 to 40, good push on DAL, Marvel pushed hard. UAL, that was one of them that we called out. Look at this one. This one was 40 to 42. All right. We called that one yesterday. I did that one yesterday on the video. Okay. Told you guys about that one. Absolute killer. CCL, another one. We talked about that one yesterday. Now be careful with CCL. If we can't hold these upper levels, we're looking for the dump down. Okay. It likes to lose steam very quickly, but it likes to push up. So if we can't hold this elevated area, we're looking like we want to probably push down and retest these 16s. NVDA pushed up. I don't trust this up push though. We got a lot of significant volume down at the lower levels. If we can't hold these upper levels because of just some bearish sentiment, then we could slide very quickly, okay? But if we can hold these elevated levels, then 500 easy. 500 easy. Snap popped like we expected it to, shelved out. So this one's definitely, we're shares long on this. Plus we got leaps on this one as well. So those of you that followed the game plan from yesterday when we talked about it, probably made a nice little chunk of change on this one. And let's go over a couple banks that we're going to talk about. Banks are going to start reporting earnings. I think it's more of a sell, sell the rumor or buy the rumor, sell the news. So earnings are going to come out. Depending on how stellar the earnings are, will depend on how the financial sector does. But right now, we're moving bullishly into the earnings. I think that we'll probably get a little bit of selling once we get earnings posted. Bank of America looking good though. Wells Fargo, one of my favorite ones. Wells Fargo looking pretty good. Got this little downtrending wedge here. I always like these because a lot of times when you get these downtrending wedges and it's like a shallow downtrend, it's not too violent like this. You get the shallow one, we usually get a nice pop up to the upside, right? You see it here, pop, downtrend, pop, downtrend, pop. So look for that one on Monday. DraftKings flagging. Probably want to look bullish on this one. We got a nice let's go and draw this one out. Look at this one. A nice little pattern forming here, right? Okay, there you go. So we're coming to a decision point, and I think that we probably break and go retest some of these newest high, and then probably get a breakout to the upside. So I'm long DraftKings for sure. Meta. Had a nice bullish push here after some red days, so that was decent right here. After all this push that we get, right? And then we get kind of some downtrending. It was amazing how unremarkable the market was, or at least it felt because it ranged pretty decently. And we covered the other ones. All right, let's look at the indexes real quick and then we'll wrap this up. SPY. All right, here was your SPY. Now, I did spy earlier because I was talking about our algo bot. These orange lines were signals with the algo set to go short. It went short, then it set to go long, it went long, set to go short, long, short. We didn't get a signal going into the close because it was too close to the bell. But this was a powerful, pretty signal here. A nice setup for longs going into next week. So if you got some lottos pushing out until the 8th or the 9th of January, you might be able to make some money because it wants to hit 470. It wants to go retest 470. I got a feeling next week we're probably going to push and break to new highs past 470. Just a feeling. QQQ, similar. QQQ was a little weaker though into the close. You see a lot of downtrending here, a lot of upward pressure, but we couldn't break. And the reason why a lot of people didn't make money on QQQ today is because they were out of the money from yesterday. Okay. They were here, right, yesterday, but they saw this and they were expecting to break above this. So they were going out 405s and 410s out the money and stuff like that. And so they went ahead and went out the money. We got this dip going into after hours and then pre-market, flushing out all of those out of the money calls, and we weren't able to get juice back up and go into it. So that's why people lost some money on some of those out of the money calls. But looking okay for the bullish push to the upside and go retest that 400 area as long as the market stays bullish. But other than that, that's all I got for you guys on the Friday wrap up. Pay attention to us. Saturday, we'll have a tech video out. And other than that, enjoy your weekend. As always, if you're ready, follow me and TWR and let's go to work. Join the TWR Market Warriors, guys. I'll see you when that bell rings on Monday. Peace. Let's go out there and make some money.